My problem with just Pearly things, Pearl Davis. Do I think she's smart? Sure. Do I think she believes the things that she says? Yes, to an extent. But I have several issues, but my main issue with her is this. She is getting to the point now where she's just saying the most outlandish thing she can to, to generate more clicks. And like, obviously that's the name of the game to a certain extent on the internet. But she said something like, 25-year-old women are hotter than 35-year-old women. Totally agree with her. I believe, defended her on Twitter a few times, as far as like when like a hot 35-year-old woman or 36-year-old woman would post a picture and be like, Pearl's 26, I'm 36. You see the difference, whatever. It's just like, my favorite thing about the feminist movement is they love to, and just women in general, love to take like one exception or few exceptions and pretend as though it disproves the entire truth on the whole generality itself. So I think that's pretty funny. But what she said was correct there, right? 25-year-old women in general, unless they were fat at 25 and not fat at 35, so she said, I think, are more attractive than 35-year-old women, right? That's just, obvious, right? You age, you get less attractive, especially for, especially for women, sorry. But my issue is this now. She has now come out, and she's since deleted this tweet, as she seemingly does, when the backlash is too severe. She has now come out and said that 16-year-old girls, because those aren't women, she said chicks. 16-year-old chicks are hotter than 26-year-old chicks. And I think where she was coming from mentally was, she was trying to disparage herself a little bit to gain some kind of like, oh, she's being objective sort of like feel to it because she's 26 years old. But when you think of things through your sort of projection or through your lens instead of the general landscape of the scenario, you sometimes come out sounding like an idiot. Like, so she says 16-year-old girls are more attractive than 26. It's like, whoa, what'd you just say? And she's also, it's not the first time she's brought up 16-year-old girls in that kind of a light. She also had a tweet maybe a month ago or like 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, whatever it was. And she said basically something to the effect of, she was sort of, it seemed to me, advocating for 16-year-old girls to get married at 16 because they would be happier. That's, okay, I'm not going to do what some people are doing and call her the P word. I'm not trying to cancel her by any means. I'm totally fine with her saying all this stuff because I'm actually free speech absolutist, unlike Elon Musk. I think that when she does stuff like that, right, and she says this outlandish stuff, yeah, it'll get her some views, but generally speaking, does anyone agree that a 16-year-old girl in 2023 should get married? I understand that 16-year-old girls back a long, long time ago were different than they are today, and they could get married and they could do that kind of stuff because at that time they were forced into adult life expectancy shorter. Adulthood was kind of forced upon them much faster. My aunt was married and had a child at like 18, and that was a very normal thing at that time for like my parents' generation. I'm 36, so that's a very normal thing. But in 2023, 16-year-old girls are literally children. Like, they don't know what is going on in terms of the real world. And so to me, to even like suggest that in 2023 is the most batshit crazy thing you could ever say. And so like what I noticed from her, and this again, anytime I complain about something, it almost always gets traced back to being too tribal, right? So Pearl has made it big in terms of her growth on social media, being a red pill content creator. She's part of the manosphere. She's sticking up for men's rights and she's attacking feminism. All that stuff I agree with. I'm totally cool with sticking up for men's rights. I'm totally cool with attacking feminism because I think in many ways, feminists have lost all credibility by allowing men to come in and be better women than them. Also, I think it's delusional in many ways because men and women are different, and to basically try to make the apples comparison, I think is crazy, or I just think is disingenuous, right? Like, if me and my wife are walking down the street and a man attacks her, Should I let her handle it on her own, or should I step in and fight? But if a man attacks me, should I be waiting for her to step in and do something? No. And when we go out to dinner, does the man pay for the bill? In almost every case, that happens, right? So if you're on a first date with a woman, you don't split the tab. Like, things are not equal, and that's okay. I mean, I would say things are equal, but they're different, right? Some things men have to pick up the slack on or take the lead on, and some other things women do. So to me, and I'll give you one for women. I just saw a YouTube short that said it was like a teacher, and she was very attractive, and she was saying, like, basically made sort of a sexualized post, and the girl who made the short about this teacher was very upset and called the teacher a predator. Now, let's just say she was a freshman teacher. I was 15 years old as a freshman in high school. If I had a smoking hot teacher, and I promise, if she was a predator to me, I would have been totally cool with that. And I guarantee you, literally, that's all the boys in her class, that's all we talked about, is how hot she was. And, like, it's so, like, yeah, if a man did that to the same age group, 15-year-old girl, like, you are a predator, throw them in jail forever. Things are different based on gender in many cases. So, my point is with Pearl, I think that she's too tribalistic. I think that she has gone too red pill. She's in, like, the red pill rage to the levels of what Sneeko was a few months or a year ago. But anyways, so I don't dislike her. I just think that she's gone too tribalistic, and that creates an inability on her part to actually remain objective, right? So, like, it comes down to the general vibe I get from her now is basically men can do no wrong ever, and women can do no right ever. If a woman, like, she made this, Shuan had a tweet the other day where she was just giving her take on why she didn't agree with Elon Musk changing Twitter to X or whatever. And Pearl quote tweets her and says, "A woman thinks she knows better than a billionaire." So Shu, and this is exactly what I was thinking, I think replied to something to the extent of, like, well, then Pearl should agree with Bill Gates and eat the bugs and do everything, take the boosters, all that stuff, and do everything Bill Gates says. And that is, like, I don't understand how you could be so dense to think that, yes, in general, there are many areas in which men are more mentally and physically competent than women. There are. But to say that any women ever on any topic ever could never disagree with or criticize a billionaire is a bonkers ideology. It's crazy to even make that statement and to claim to believe that. Now, if she was just like, I was just messing around, like, then that'd be one thing. But she seemingly doubled down on it when she re-quote tweeted Shu again, saying, like, blah, 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 I'm a woman, I think I'm smarter than I am, or something like that. So shit like that is what bothers me with Pearl. I think that she sort of believes what she's saying, but I think she's really, really leaning into the whole, I'm going to say the craziest stuff I can, because, it's also different for her because she's a woman. Again, like, that. This girl, by the way, is a 26-year-old boss babe talking about how women need to get in the kitchen. Think about that for a second. She's single. To my knowledge, I think she's only had one boyfriend. And she's 26, and she's like an athlete. So everything that she advocates for, she is not. And so does that not apply to Pearl? Or is she just disparaging herself? Because it doesn't seem as though she's disparaging herself. It seems as though she's just attacking women in general, right? So now, I guess you could make the exception, like, oh, she's the exception, not the rule. I get that, but when you start saying, like, oh, you need to have families, you need to be, and this is all stuff I firmly believe in. I think women 22 years old need to have kids. That'd be great. That would be great for society, I believe. It would make us more mature, I promise you that much. For Pearl, I just don't understand how she can constantly, preach a certain message where she's living completely the opposite message. She's literally a boss babe, and I think there's other women like that too in this whole red pill space. Leah Halpern is, to me, very similar to Pearl, and she's like way more Andrew Tate. Like, I know Pearl has been called the female Andrew Tate. Leia, to me, is like literally Andrew Tate. And it's funny because I've heard her say oh, I want to have like 7 kids. Leia is around the same age as Pearl. She's a boss babe. She's single. She has the highest standards you could ever have for a woman. Like, she wants a absolute Chad that is unjabbed and all that stuff. And I get the unjabbed part, but she wants like the she wants Andrew Tate, essentially. And she's not really willing to settle for anything less than that. And in my opinion, it's unlikely that she finds that, because when you look at her physically, yes, she's pretty, but she's not a 10. She's not a 9, right? In my opinion. I think in most people's opinion. People think she's more attractive than she is because she's got some fame and she's based as a woman, right? And anytime a woman is based, it's like that bumps her up a level. So if she was a 6, she's now a 7 or whatever. So, but to me, in the actual sexual marketplace, I think having a lot of clout actually hurts her where she might think it helps her. You know, I think that if I met a girl and I really liked her, thought she was attractive, and I wanted to, you know, pursue a relationship with her, and then I found out that she had like 1 million subs on YouTube, I don't know if I'd like that, right? I mean, it depends, I guess, but generally speaking, I wouldn't like that. If she's getting, you know, she's getting blown up in her DMs constantly. So it's just like, why would I not, like, men will date a McDonald's worker, seriously, like, that has no social media, and probably prefer that if she's a, you know, more attractive or as attractive as someone like Leia or Pearl. So I don't know. That's my kind of my overall gripe with women like that in the red pill space. And there's more. I'm not going to sit here and bring up every single one, but I do think that the moral of the story is don't be too tribalistic to where you lose all rationale. You say stuff like a woman can't criticize a man because he's a billionaire is stupid, because Elon Musk has done a whole bunch of stupid stuff. And Elon Musk, like, for example, I criticize Elon Musk all the time about his, I'm a free speech absolutist, Twitter's going to be a free speech platform too. We are basically shadow banning and suspending people for hate speech, you know. But I also don't like that she deleted her song that she made the other day. Why can't we talk about the blanks? I don't know what, like, to me, I'm not deleting shit ever. I have said the N-word on Twitter a few times. Never will I delete it. I do not care how much backlash there is, because I know in my heart, number one, I am not saying it from a racist way. I'm just saying it in the way that they're selling it to me as, right? You can't tell me, oh, because of the color of your skin, you're not allowed to say something. I choose not to say that word 99.9% of the time because I don't want to say that word. I don't like the word. I wish we would just abolish it altogether. But as a free speech absolutist, I will say what I want, and you're not going to tell me because of the color of my skin I can't say it, period. So, anyways, I think I'm kind of rambling now, but if you're enjoying the content, guys, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think about Pearl and overall the red pill space or whatever, and I will talk to you later. Peace out.